Wednesday night, 7 on the dot. Central Time, you know the spot. Cat Hobson on the line. Something strange is in the signs. Doors crack open, lights go low. Stories come from who knows where. Footsteps where nobody goes. Cold spots climbing up the stair. If you heard it too, if you saw that glow, bring your story through, let the whole room know. Paranormal Experienced, Cat Hobson takes the call. Paranormal Experienced, UFOs and guests, we want it all. Paranormal Experienced, tell me what you know. What you know. What you know. Late night voices on the feed, turning fear to something clean. A witness says it like it is, and the silence starts to lean. One more clip, one more sign, one more name. In the dark, everybody holds their breath when the unknown leaves a mark. If you heard it too, if you saw that glow, bring your story through, let the whole room know. Paranormal Experienced, Cat Hobson takes the call. Paranormal Experience, UFOs and guests, we want it all. Paranormal Experience, tell me what you know. What you know. From the porch to the open sky, from the grainy tape to the eye, we keep the questions alive. We keep the questions alive. Paranormal Experienced, Cat Hobson takes the call. Paranormal Experience, UFOs and gas, we want it all. Paranormal Experienced, tell me what you know. What you know. What you know.
Hello there. I am so glad that you're here because it has been a day and then my computer wouldn't work. And I'm one of those weird people who, when my energy is a little wonky, my electronics are a little wonky. But we will make it up with the show tonight because I am very fortunate to have been a paranormal investigator for a really, really long time. But I have met some of the best people along the way as I've come through this path. And it doesn't really matter where you are. It doesn't matter what kind of experience you have. It doesn't matter about a lot of things. But when you come across somebody who is absolutely brilliant, who's very kind, who wants to share their knowledge and their experiences with everybody, you hang on to that person. And that is who is joining me tonight. I have a lot of friends like that. So um, it's nice when you get a call or you're on Facebook and you see somebody and they're talking about an investigation and you're like, where are you going? Just, well, drive up. Let's go. And that's what happens is she feeds me and she houses me, and she is one of those women. And that would be Renee Dykes. So is Renee here? Carl?
No, she hasn't showed up yet.
I wonder what is up.
I don't know. She hasn't been in the
I don't have.
background at all.
Okay. Well, we'll give her a few minutes. So there may be something. Because to be quite honest, there has been um, quite an issue with my computer, and I don't know why. This it's a wonderful computer, and it's my backup computer because my other one is somewhere. Everything is somewhere today, and it was my day with my grandchildren, and it was a lot of fun. My daughter-in-law, y'all may not know that my daughter-in-law has breast cancer, ductal breast cancer. And she has been really going through the mill. In fact, they brought me an awareness bracelet today. She, this is her first lesser dose, her last lesser dose of chemo. And next week she starts what they call Red Devil. Pretty wicked side effects, um, more hair loss, which is her hair is starting to grow back. So that's going to be one of those things. But she is really, really struggling, but she's a warrior. She gets through, she comes home to those babies, she loves on the babies, and loves on Aaron. Although by the time they get home, she's probably tired of him because they do this together. He goes to her with her to everything. But it just kind of makes you think that you're so fortunate. My mother had breast cancer, and it's very, it's something that you have to pay attention to. I have been very fortunate. I don't have the genetics for it. Hi, Ingrid, and thank you so much. She is. I will let her know that because she is. She counts on those prayers. I'm not gonna lie, and it's so frustrating because you sit there and you think, well, if she hadn't had a baby, she wouldn't have known that she had this, right? So because she was nursing and pumping and doing all the things and found a lump and went straight in. I'm so proud of her because she went straight in. And she has been a warrior through this whole thing. It's been going on for a few months. In fact, that's why y'all have seen guest hosts a lot of my paranormal experienced Wednesday night shows because I am, you know, tagged in on Wednesdays. It's been all summer. Now they've started the school year, so during the day it's just me and Brody, who, by the way, is attempting mobility. He is my youngest grandson, and he was up on all fours rocking to crawl today. So it's about to be on like Donkey Kong. But it's one of the things that sometimes I'm a little scattered on a Wednesday. I know that y'all notice that, and that's that's the primary reason. And when I get it, when my energy gets wonky, people that know will know. People that doubt it will go, oh, please. But when I get nervous, when I have something going on, when I'm emotional, my energy goes wonky. Things happen around me. And tonight, I had my little bog bag. That was a fake because, I'm not going to spend money on too many of those. But it's really I know I put it in the car. Pretty sure I brought it in the house. And my everyday wonderful Dell laptop is hiding from me. So I'm going to drop this little. Oh, didn't mean literally. I'm so sorry. But it's hiding from me. David couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. It's in a pink bag. You would think that would stick out like a sore thumb. But we had some roof damage. So we have somebody coming to look at the roof tomorrow. And it's just an exciting time, no doubt. But so everything is all kinds of mixed up. Well, I'm going to just go ahead and I messaged Renee that I was waiting on her, and she is ready, and she does have the link, so she will be along shortly. But I very first met her. Oh my gosh, I do not even know how long ago this was. But Ingrid, you're in my prayers. Ingrid says that she has been fighting breast cancer for 13 years. Prayers work. They've given her 3 years. Much. There I am. But it's I didn't know you were a medium, but that's um that's a pretty big job too. But it's really it's such a blessing. You know, we were excited about Brody coming, period. And then he saved his mom, kind of literally.
Cat, your camera's not on, whatever you're using. We don't see you.
Oh my. That's a shame. I look so good. Let's see.
I know you look. It was
Let me
doing real
see.
good, and then you started reading Ingrid's deal, and the camera stopped.
Well, I don't know what's up. Let's see. Okay. I wonder where I went.
I don't know. Why don't you go out and come back in on that device? Okay.
I will. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. She'll be back in a little bit, folks. She is having some technical difficulties tonight, like crazy. So we will keep going. And while she's doing that, let's see, play you another song.
Sunday night. Sunday night, 7 on the dot. Turn it up, give it all you got. Stories and
Hello. It looks like there's two of me.
I know. I'm going to take the other one down.
Thank you. Okay,
There you
guys.
go.
Every so often, you get to see paranormal energy at work on my shows. And it is, it's nothing scary. It's nothing, you know, too woo, but it is energy in play. It happens. And I apologize. But it's something that this has gone on in my world since I was a kid. And it's just seems to have gotten a little stronger as I got older. When I was in my childbearing years, it was insane. And then it kind of lessened. I I had a hysterectomy. Too much information, sorry. But and then but I kept an ovary. So I was regulated more so. Then as I started coming into menopause, it was it was crazy. I would lose things that were no, like I was sitting, had it on the desk, turned around, came back, it was gone. Hadn't left my chair, hadn't left my desk, my device would be gone. I, I, my husband thinks it's crazy, but he's looked for them too, and now he doesn't think it's as crazy as he did. But now, um, I'm through that phase of life. I am mellowing out, like chilling like a villain, basically, and life started getting weird again. And I thought, well, isn't that special? So I thought I had Alzheimer's. I really did. I thought I had Alzheimer's. I was convinced because I have a family history of that disease. And I went pretty quickly to be evaluated because I know that if you start medications, you can slow, just impede the progress. And it was, it was wacky doodle. I was tested. There was no way you were going to tell me I didn't have it. I just wanted to start being treated. the psychologist who did my testing, we went back. David went with me, and he said, You do not have Alzheimer's. You have no markers whatsoever for Alzheimer's. You do, however, have wicked ADHD, adult postmenopausal ADHD. And I was stunned. I was stunned. Explains a lot about my youth, though. And he said that I probably had this my entire life. And so that was just a moment in time that there you go, right? So went, was placed on medication for it, pretty easy stuff. And every so often, I still will just, David will tell me something. And if I'm not looking at him and registering it when he says it, I won't remember it. I've been, that's not me. I've done that our entire lives, which, it's a wonder and he married me twice. Go figure, right? But it's it's just, it's a way of life now. I have to double and triple check. Sometimes my energy gets really erratic, considering that I'm an empath and I was having, and I do have psychic abilities, and I was having all this stuff happening prior to the diagnosis, right? Um, Menopause, the gift that just keeps on giving, really kicks my butt. I make Carl shake his head a lot. I make my husband want to drink. He doesn't drink at all, but he sometimes really wishes he did. My kids just think it's hilarious most of the time. And because it's not life threatening. I mean, I thought that my opportunities to go places with grandchildren, to do vacations on my own, to do all the things I love doing, I thought all that was done, right? Not so much and not so quick. So that's pretty good. And so now it's just crazy. And it is, it's getting better. I'm getting used to it. And poor David is not so used to it. But he still thinks that it's something else, I think, even though every doctor has told him no. And it's funny. Not ha ha funny, but weird funny. So I do not know what is holding up Renee Dykes, but she will, I'm positive, be tooling along in here. And I'm hopeful, because one of the things that I like about her is the fact that she feeds me and I spend the night at her house when I go up there now, which I've done that once. But I also know that I would be able to, because I at one point left an event at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital way back in the day. And it was some sort of a busy weekend. And I wasn't planning on being there that late because I only live a couple of hours away. And I was going to just drive home. Well, it was way late, and there were no rooms in the inn. It must have been a football weekend or something. I don't know. But I will never make that mistake again of just trying to find one of the hotels up on that mountain, because it is a booger bear. And oh, thank you, Ingrid. I will message you later. But she said that she has some tools that can help with grounding me. And I have my feet on a grounding mat as we speak. But it's really, it, I guess I do not have my feet on it. I have my shoes on it. We will fix that. But at any rate, I'm going to talk about haunted locations since I'm waiting. And I was watching, I love Facebook, and I had gotten into a conversation with somebody about about Scotland and hauntings and such as that there. And it was wild because they're like, "Oh, I want to go and I want to," and I was like, "Well, trust me. First, oh, they asked me, I told them that I had investigated in Scotland. They were asking, it's a paranormal group on Facebook, put a picture of you at an investigation, whatever. And so I did. I posted a picture of me at the pool house up in the Highlands in pool. And it was using dowsing rods, which I love dowsing rods. And I get really good interaction with them. So I was just hanging out with my friends with Highland Paranormal. They knew I wanted to go to the Highlands. Our friends take us everywhere. They are the best humans, seriously. But this place was, it was beautifully haunted. It wasn't scary. It wasn't overly active. There was somebody watching us walk in as we were coming out of the cars, and that was, the first clue. But we got to have lunch on a beautiful walk, and it was just warm enough, right? Just warm enough in June, but it felt wonderful to me. I'm from Alabama. That was great. So after we had lunch, we went and investigated and explored the home. And it had so many haunted objects in it. And I don't necessarily care for a lot of dolls. I I just am not. My parents kept getting me Madame Alexander dolls when I was young. And so I had I had a lot of dolls growing up. They don't scare me, but I'm just not a doll person. And but that was where we got a lot of activity. And then when I was the picture that I sent them, we were in a magnificent bathroom and I was just sitting on the edge of a tub and out the window was this lock and it was just so I got hugs and I was just like, thank you. So and that was the picture I sent was with the dowsing rods. And so the guy that had posted that said, well, I live in Scotland and we're up in the mid upper quadrant. And I said, well, this picture was in pool. So, and I told them that, yeah, we go with Haunted Scotland and Highland Paranormal, and our friends, Gary and Lynn, are the History and Horror Tours, which I do recommend. And it was a whirlwind trip the days that we were with Gary and Lynn. We went everywhere. That's when we got to go to Clavacairns and Dunkirk. No, Dunfeld. Dunkirk is in England. But it was spent time in Paris, got to go to a museum where I got to actually look at and study a map from the 1700s. And then when we were in the museum, the my favorite part was there was a quote on the wall on the beam from the guy who wrote good lord, I used when substitute taught, it was the movie that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The man that wrote that had a quote up on one of the beams in the Fairmaid house. It was so cool. But a lot of the South American South Pole explorers were rep, there were things that belonged to Bird in there. It was such a cool place. And Lori, my friend, got a lot of interaction with K2. But I just think that one of my favorite of all time was getting back to Balgony Castle. And they just had a camp out, tents pitched all in the yard there. And I would have done that camp out. I'm not a camper. but I would have done that camp out. So let's see. Nothing weird. That's okay. I'm weird enough. I, I, I wouldn't be phased. But it was. I mean, the energies, I didn't care for Claudine because I was shot. I mean, I really got a blow to my stomach when I was there and I had to leave. And it was so disconcerting because I'm not a physical medium. And at that trip, I had two incidents of that nature. And so I'm glad that's not something that happens to me on a regular basis. Now, the other one was at the Writers' Museum, which is in Edinburgh, one of the most beautiful structures I've ever been in, inside and outside. And it's in a little close that was so cozy. It was just fun. So that one was on the back of the head, like a golf club hit me right there. So, not looking for that anymore. And I have learned how to set boundaries on that. Hopefully, they'll work really, really well. But all that being said, I do have unusual experiences in places, but it's not normal. And when I go to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, now, now I would sleep there now because it is beautiful. It's clean. It's it's the difference an owner makes because the woman who owned it prior to Ronnie D purchasing it did not take care of that building. In fact, the last night that I spent there under her ownership, should not have been in the building at all. That was the night. That was the last night that there were people in there, and it was just it was horrid. It really was horrid. There was a lot of mold. But it was dark. I couldn't see how bad it was. And one of my friends, Jamie, was there also, and we just shared a room. We were spending the night, and it was damp. It was not a good experience. And then chug along to this guy named Ronnie D buying it. And it was unbelievable, the difference. And I was so stunned. I mean, I probably wouldn't really eat off the floors, but comparatively speaking, you probably could. And it's just an absolute pleasure to go to that facility now. The I was there for a cleanup day, and it was, he had just bought it. It was being, you know, he hadn't just bought it. He had already done a lot of work there. And I just showed up to walk in and clean. It was unreal. And I got a really good EVP while I was there too. So that I wasn't looking for. I didn't ask anything. I was helping clean the bathroom down in what they had been calling the chapel. And it's a pretty rough bathroom. But this guy, I was walking back across the open area in the center with some friends, and this guy was like, "Well, what do you think of that?" Or, something inane like that. And I was like, "Well, I'm going to have to start live listening as I'm doing this stuff. It's so much fun to get them, but it's nicer if you know it's happening so you can interact, right? But it's cool. And respect for the property is a a powerful thing, Ingrid says, and she's not wrong. It's the difference between having dark energy and not. And the previous ownership of Old South Pittsburgh had they did they didn't not care, but I think that it was just overwhelming. And that, to me, that facility is one of the premier locations in the world. It really is. And it looks like it now. You know, the spirits are much less dark because I'm sure they didn't feel good about what had happened to their hospital, their workplace, the place where they had birthed their children. And now even the ghosts are proud of it. I mean, seriously, seriously. It is such a different energy and environment. And, it's not something that people automatically ascribe to a location. If the if it's not maintained, if it's not loved and cared for, if it's not um, given all the opportunities to shine that are available, then I think that it feels bad. The energy, the spirits, whoever feels bad about themselves and the location, and they're negative because of the negative perception. When when I went to a hospital here in Birmingham that was closed, it happened to be the hospital I was born in, and it was closed, and it was going to be sold, pulled down, whatever. They are pulling it down now. It did sell, and they are pulling it down. But I had the opportunity to go in there and investigate. It was it was not negative per se, but it was not um it did not feel like a place you would want to spend a lot of time. And that had a lot to do with homeless people needing to take shelter there, and with again, the lack of maintenance. Obviously, it had been allowed to deteriorate. But I don't know what happened, because when we went in there, the 1980s, the great big box, tall as you kind of computers were there. The desktop computers, workstations were there on the nurses' stations. The linens and the window treatments were still there. When they shut that baby, they shut it that day, apparently. And it had been vacant for probably at least one decade. And it was so sad. We went up on the psych unit, and you know, my friends and I went up the stairs to get there. A couple of the guys were already on that floor, and we were going up to meet them. And when we got to the floor, somebody, I thought it was one of our guys looking out the window at us. And I'm like, it's not really funny. You need to open the door. And so got them on the walkie talkies, and they were like, we're not there yet. I was like, well, somebody's looking at us. And it was one of those crazy glass window panes that has the wire in them. So it was kind of distorted, which was why we didn't know for sure that was Shane. So it was wild. It's the place that I filmed my first shadow figure. And it was wild because when I was walking through with, you know, my partner that night, and she was like, hmm, but I had shined a light, or she had shined a light down there, and I saw something. And I just said, and I'm filming, and I'm just trying so hard to be calm. I said, could you please shine your light down there again? And as soon as she did, this figure just went up against the door at the end of that little short hallway, and then just melted down and went under the door beside it. And you can hear both of us on that recording going, so it was full of surprises. including, you know, all kinds of interesting things. Ingrid, I'm going to have to leave my glasses up. Oh, well, it was creepy, but it wasn't horrible. I mean, it was just, I mean, I've been in the hospital most of my life, in and out. I mean, not as a patient, but that when my grandmother would be admitted, that's where she went. UAB hospital here was not, a thing as it is now. And it was North Birmingham's hospital of choice. And it was beautiful. So they had a barometric chamber so that if you were a diver, and because we're not that far from the Gulf Coast, if you were injured while diving and needed a decompression chamber, they had that. So, yeah, they used it for bariatric medicine too, with the um, diabetic patients and such that needed some of the pressure taken off their legs and whatnot. But it was cool. And I just, I just think back to, there's another place in Tennessee that is, what is that called? The Thomas House. The Thomas House is something else that has been allowed to deteriorate a good bit. And it's kind of scary. The first time I went up there, and it's a beautiful inn. I mean, it was a hotel back in the days where you went for the waters, or you just went for a rest, or family vacays, that kind of thing. There was a church across the street. Um, they People would go and have Sunday lunch there, and it's pretty. It's very pretty, but it's very decrepit. And because I'd never been there before, I was going for an event. My husband came with me the first time and said, I just want to make sure it's okay. So he spent the night in a haunted hotel. And it was so funny because I came bebopping up the stairs, and he's sitting on a couch watching the only TV that was in the public area, watching a Braves game. And when I got up the stairs, I was like, I just stopped because there was a shadow man leaning back against the wall with his arms crossed behind him, I guess watching the game too. And my husband never knew. So I was just like, you good, baby? And he was like, yeah, I'm good. And I was like, okay. But later he was very upset because when we got ready to go to bed and he was checking the smoke detectors and stuff, the smoke detector had been kind of stripped down. It wasn't functioning. And he was wigged out. So from that point on, I had to take my own smoke detector with me to that location. But it's just, I don't like it when I'm someplace that feels like it's less than. I don't like, chaos, and I live in chaos because of my brain stuff. And right now I'm living in chaos because we have had a water leak. Apparently, we had a roof fall on a roof. We had a pretty good limb fall on our house a while back. There was a little micro tornado, and we didn't know there was any damage until I walked into the back bathroom and there was mold on the ceiling. I was like, why do we have mold on our ceiling? So sprayed it, figured that, somehow there had been moisture trapped in the bathroom, whatever. And it came back, and then it started in the hallway and moving down the hallway. And so that's being taken care of. No, I don't do mold. But you I'm very weird about that. And that's why everybody, I think, was surprised when I stayed that night at Old South Pittsburgh. And nobody knew it was the last night, right? Potentially because it was being sold at auction. She just put it in an auction, and Ronnie D went and got it. So that was really amazing. I just I just love that he did that. He's such a special human. He really is. So one of the one of the best things in Scotland, everything is close to water. It's an island, and I didn't realize how close. But if you're in Edinburgh, you got water on both sides. If you are in St Andrews, water on both sides. You got the River Firth coming up through kind of the central areas, and you've got the North Sea on both sides. So it is a wet area, or a damp area. But none of the places really seem to have the problem with mold. Maybe it's because it's not hot. Here, everything is hot. And especially this week, oh my gosh, it is so hot. If y'all are suffering from that, it's everywhere. And I'm so sorry. We're moderately used to it, and I am complaining, okay, because it's that kind of hot. But it's it doesn't seem to be a problem like it is here. And when we went to the Bannockburn house, we got to investigate Bannockburn house, and which is pretty cool. It's it's so historic. Somebody told me that they had closed it um to the public, and that's a tragedy. That place is something else. And let's see. But it is it's just all fun. It's really, it's not creepy. You know, the the hospital was. The hospital had a definite creep factor, but it was because, like, when we went down to where the kitchen was, the dining room, all of the stuff had fallen, the ceiling. And so you had insulation, wet insulation, moldy insulation. That was creepy. And that had nothing to do with spirits, you know. But I've been there since, obviously, since. And Ronnie, I had a friend who had moved from Wisconsin, from the North Woods of Wisconsin. And she was living in Nashville for a bit. And she's paranormal also. So I said, well, if you want to, we can just ride over to Old South Pittsburgh, get some lunch. You can at least see the hospital, because everybody wants to go to Old South Pittsburgh, especially now. And so we rode over there, and I just, parked outside the gate and walked her around it, because I do have, at that time, we didn't know each other quite as well, but I had a lot of respect for her, and he for me too. And I got a phone call that said, "Why is your car there?" And I said, "Oh, this is my friend Jennifer. And she just wanted to look at it because, it's iconic." And he was like, "No worries." And, you know, just was just a wonderful human. And so he didn't have me arrested, which is when I knew he was a true friend. But it was so nice, because the difference, getting to see it in the daylight like that, once the majority of the work had been done, was just phenomenal. You know, um, I'm very, very fortunate to have a lot of the friends that I have, and I'm thankful for them every day. One of my best girlfriends is Shelley Robertson, who owns the old Paulding Jail. Let me tell you, if you be careful what you wish for, but if you really want to experience something that is off the chain haunted with some very interesting characters, go to Paulding, Ohio. It is an amazing facility. And, you know, she is, it's clean. She cleans it after every investigation. And she spends a lot of time there. She lives in Indianapolis, but she spends a lot of time there doing research and experiments and things of that nature. That place has some of the most interactive spirits who are intelligent spirits. All of them are intelligent spirits. Um, it's it's wild. It will blow your flippin' mind. And I have been so blessed to be able to go there. In fact, I called her the other day and I said, I need to come see you. So we're working on getting me back to Ohio. But, you know, that is someplace else that there is not one part of that building that doesn't have activity. We we connected at Scarefest a few years ago, and I went, you know, I went with her to the jail, and it was my first time there. It was crazy. I was going to do a live show there, and I could not use the internet. Could not. Everything on my computer, not unlike tonight with the Lenovo, everything on my computer was acting crazy, crazy. And so I had I was on another network at the time. I had a producer that was basically just handling the, ins and outs because we were trying to get this thing done. And he said, because I'm hearing jail doors slamming right in front of me, right? Nothing's moving, but the sound is there. And he sends me a message through Skype and says, I can hear everything. I will let you know when it's time to get out of that area. But when I tell you it's time to go, you go. Because they were getting bent out of shape. But I was kind of bent out of shape too. And I was not a delicate flower about it. So it's, I mean, I'm looking at these huge, I guess they're steel or cast iron. Carl would know which one those are. And they're not moving. They're physically not moving. The audible from them slamming, banging was so loud. It was so loud. And finally, Todd sent me a message that said, time to go. And I'm like, nope. And he's like, you need to pick up your laptop and leave that area right now. And I'm like, okay. And so we went to the kitchen, and I was really mad because I was there to try to raise awareness about the jail and to help them. And because I love Shelly. I've always loved Shelly from the moment we interacted. And so I'm like, I can do this. I can pull attention to her jail, and because she was making it into a research facility basically. I mean, there's still um you can do a private investigation, but you if you're a researcher, it's continuous, all nothing changes, and you can interact with specific spirits. They're honest about who they are, and it's such a neat concept to have an actual place that you know so well that the the people, the ghosts are consistently there. the there's a few in and outers, but not many. And and they interact. They will communicate with you. And that's, I think, one of the best things to have as a researcher, right? Because you can have consistency as much as you're going to get in a paranormal environment. How cool is that? It's just a gift. And the spirits have so much respect for Shelley and my bestie Lori, because she goes there a lot. And they were working on a really big research project, and right now they're writing a book about it. So you'll be able to learn about it too. But it's it's one of those rare gems, right? That has intelligent spirit, has consistent personalities who are there often, and they they will let you know if they're upset about something. Trust me on that. But they are also really, really terrific. They just are. And because I think it's that kind of an environment, there are a couple of child spirits who have shown up there who are safe there. And she does the dolls and things of that nature. I'm not really into that, but her dolls are just beautifully haunted. They're not scary or evil or wicked or anything. They're just little girl spirits who are attached to these dolls because they love dolls. Weird. I mean, I know when you talk to people that are not paranormal about things like this, they're going to suit you up for a jacket, right? But it's real and it's fascinating. Excuse me. And I just think that to have that opportunity to be able to a get to go and see your best girlfriends, right? Some of them, I've I have taken my non-paranormal friend there, and so now she is a paranormal friend because it's so fun. But it's fun to see somebody's eyes be opened to the fact that no, that's not a demon. No, that's a person. That is a person, and this is where they live because of whether they're afraid of their afterlife that they might feel like they earned, or if they are just comfortable having a home still here. It's very interesting. I think it's neat. But it's Shelley has even made a room for one of the little girl spirits that live there. And she decorated it in the period of the little girl's life. And it's just the sweetest thing. And you can hear the little girl interact with Shelley through a portal or just through a voice box. So I think that's cool. We're gonna have to drop the specs again. Oh, do you live in Ohio? I have been to the Ohio Reformatory, and I've been several times. It is one of those places. I went to a paid event once, and I took my friend Katie, who lives in Columbus, with me. And then I went. My girlfriend Lori rented it a few years for her birthday, and I went a couple of times up there with that. And I think it's crazy. We actually had an image that I'm not sure where it is. I could probably pull it on my phone, but I probably would lose the show. But it's so cool because we were down because they do a Paracon there, and it's always right behind Lori's birthday. So we were there. We were down in Solitary. We were going to do an EVP session and stuff. We were trying to find chairs, but they had already taken the chairs up for the event. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go around the corner and see if there's one over there. So somebody took a photograph of me doing that. And it was not long after my mom had died, and Katie and I both had interaction with our mothers when we were leaving her house to go there. So that was kind of different. And once we got there and we were doing stuff, and it was late, we were getting tired. But when I was walking around to go around the corner, it was shortly after my mom had passed away. And so, and she had been in Katie's car with us because, okay, we we know it was my mom because she said she was when I did a voice recording. And when we were leaving Katie's house heading over there, the car all of a sudden smelled like fresh laundry. It smelled so good. And I looked over at Katie. I said, "Well, that's a female spirit. That's going to be a lady." And we had both lost our moms recently. And so I took my voice recorder out on my phone, and I said, "So who's in the car with us?" Didn't get much. And I was like, "Are you a man? Are you a woman?" And then I said, "Are you a mom?" And then I said, "Are you my mom?" And then, I played it back. And the response was to the, "Are you a mom?" "Yes." "Are you my mom?" "Yes." "Okay. I'm so glad you're here with me. Thank you." And so we went tootling on to Mansfield. So then it was so funny because the picture that Vicky, I think it was Vicky, who took a picture of me. Not that it matters because you don't know that who Vicky is, but um, I'm just striding around the corner going to get my chair if there is one. And there is this big black shadow reaching for me. And it's floating along behind me. And it really is big. And between me and the spirit is a purple cloud. And I know that was my mom because my mom was a member of the Red Hat Society. And I think they're universal, but it's a bunch of people that wear purple and red together, red hat, purple dress, and go have lunch together. And that was my mom in a purple dress. And I mean, it was it just you know came up between the shadow and myself. And so I was like, "Oh, thanks, mom." I don't think what lives down in solitary at you know Mansfield is very nice. So it was a very interesting experience for me. I didn't anticipate that. And then, of course, we've seen shadow figures up on the catwalks and stuff around the cells and that. But Lori got some real interaction the last time we were there over in the warden's quarters. And the reason that we wound up there was because we smelled cherry pipe tobacco. Smelled like my dad. Figured my mom had been there once. Why not my dad, right? And he had recently passed. So we were just investigating, followed the smoke and followed the smell. There wasn't any smoke. And wound up in the warden's quarters. And Lori plays music. Lori loves music. And she always plays Elvis because she feels like everybody wants to interact to Elvis. And so using an SLS camera, there was a spirit dancing with her in front of her. And I just thought, okay, this is good. This is really good. So it was, and it lasted because that was what my dad smoked was cherry tobacco, either in a pipe or a Swisher Sweet or whatever. And yeah, so I thought that was pretty special too because we didn't keep the smell after we got up there. The smell dissipated when the warden showed up with Lori. And so I loved there. I do love there. And let's see. Oh my gosh, you had somebody come home with you? Girl, you gotta block that. So but it is a wild ride. Mansfield is definitely a wild ride. And it's one of the few places that I bought a jacket because it's a good jacket, obviously. Doesn't get as cold here as it does there, but when it is cold, it's a great take the dogs out jacket. It's a hoodie and it's not a hoodie. I mean it zips. So but I love there. I really do. And it's it's just one of those things that, when you have the opportunity to interact with a spirit that loves you, that's why my mom was there. Did she know that was going to happen and that's why she was riding with us? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one. But it's just such a weird thing, right? We went to where is that? What is the name of that? Winchester House out in California. And my friend Rick McCollum and Patty Nagry were talent for this event. So the promoter, you know, let Lori and I come too. And it was something. It really was something. The there was so much, and our friend Mikey, who lives in California, was there as well. And Lori got so much interaction on the SLS camera. I got a picture of a shadow man working in the garden. And it actually was in an edition of Fate magazine. And when we looked, when I looked through the rest of my pictures, there was a picture that somehow, I mean, I was just shooting when I was in the house. I was, boom, boom, boom. And there was a picture of a gardener, the gardener, the head gardener, working in there. And he was in the same posture as the shadow figure that I got a photograph of. And I wish I had seen that before, Phyllis put that in the tape so that we could have put them side by side. But I didn't. I didn't think to look for that. And it just was so neat. I love unusual things. And because I myself am an unusual thing, right? But it's just so interesting when you come across things that are unexpected like that. I had no idea. I don't get through my pictures necessarily that night that I take them because I'm tired. And when I went through the ones and found the guy in the garden, that was a big enough deal for me, right? I was happy with that. But then when I found another picture that I had taken inside, um, of like a newspaper article of the gardener working, and then the posture and everything was the same. I thought that was pretty cool. And I mean, I was just shooting with my cell phone. I love an iPhone for that. And it's, I don't know, it's so, it's a gift. It's unexpected. It's cool. And every time, every time that spirit interacts with me, I appreciate it. I get called, depending on where I am, I get called, you know, something like witch. And I have been told that, you know, pretty much you're done here or whatever. And I try to always be respectful, but I don't like to put up with guff. Yeah, I'm not going to take any guff. And I I wish I knew how to block things like getting shot in the gut at Culloden Battlefield. You know, my friend Rick just laughed and says, "Well, you're the last injury. You're the last wounded person from that battle." And it was it was, like, haha, yeah, there you go. But it was upsetting too, because I don't know what I expected. My friend Liam, who is the founder of Highland Paranormal, had had who there who took us up there, and he had told me, he's like, it through some of these areas there's still some unusual activity, but it's um it's just interesting. I'm curious to see what you get. I was like, oh, okay. And I was expecting like shadow figures or voices or something. And no, freaking shot in the belly with a musket ball. It felt like that big, right in the center, uh, my solar plexus. And it was immediate. There was no doubt that something had hit me. And then I thought, well, the only people with guns out there were the English. That's why 1,400, I think, Scots died that day, and less than 500 English died that day. It was hideous, hideous. And so it was it was something else, because I wasn't running equipment and I wasn't filming anything, because that many people died right there. And the Jacobites, when they fell, if they weren't dead, they were going to be, because the English went through, and if you were still breathing, you were dead. They were going to kill you. And then they went and killed their families. They found their families and went and killed them. So it was brutal. I mean, we think that war is so bad here in this period, and it is. But those were whole different weapons and whole different mindsets. And the ferocity of battles, historic battles, are just off the chain. The things that humans would do to each other. And it's not, and these were pretty cultured societies, really, very social societies. And this was still the behavior pattern that they brought to their battles. Nobody leaves alive. Nobody. And if they had the audacity to be here fighting us, we're going to take their families out too. We're going to make an example of all these people. It's like the whole, drawn and quartered with William Wallace. I mean, all that, all that stuff. And this totally was them sharing how they died, Ingrid. I mean, it was. And I just was so, it was unexpected. Like I said, I'm not a physical medium, or I have never considered myself one. Apparently, anything can happen. But it was um, it was not a walk in the park, even though I was walking in what, if you didn't know the history, would look like a park. And it was, I mean, I seriously, I had to leave there. And our friend Lindsay took us down to a garden center so that kind of get centered again, because it was disconcerting. Pain is always disconcerting and definitely wanted my attention. And, you know, so I guess I was considered a Jacobite, a target there, which does not surprise me, but I have lineage English and Scottish. So it's crazy. And I think it's just, I've investigated a lot of places in Scotland. Um, I've been fortunate enough to go 3 times and have all these people share with us and show us. And, you know, the history and horror tours couple um, are just brilliant. I could not believe how kind they were. The We got to stay when we were in Paris. We stayed at the Salutations Hotel, and it was it used to host hunt balls. They had the pictures from the hunt balls, and to me, I've always thought that was so, you know, beautiful. I don't hunt, and well, I did ghost hunt, but I'm not actively hunting people or animals. But it was the imagery of the dresses and the plaid carpets, and the rooms were adorable. And it was sweet. And we did investigations in a couple of the public rooms after hours with the hotel's permission, of course. And we had activity, and that was unexpected. And my friend Mikey had brought um, Ghost Stop has it. It's the tape that's like um, the sensor tape. It works like a K2, and we could watch spirit moving up and down, toward us, away from us, toward us. That was freaking cool. And then we were doing Estes method. That was cool too. And it was just, it was neat. And I loved it because I get up earlier than most of my friends did. So I would go down to the breakfast and get a cup of coffee and sit in the window and just look out down the street. And they have a Greyfriars cemetery there, not dissimilar to the one in Edinburgh. And our friend Gary gave us a tour of, because he's doing haunted walking tours in Paris now. And so we were some of the first people that he did that for. And he was brilliant. Oh my gosh. So, and it was so cool because if I'd known this was going to happen, I would have posted the pictures. I'll put them on my Facebook if you want to go and look at them. There was an extreme flood there, and so many people died. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head because all of this is off the top of my head tonight. But the grates, the sewer grates, are ghosts. They have ghosts. They're made with ghosts. And when I saw that, I thought, that's different. That's so cool. And it was so much fun because when when I looked down, I was not expecting that. And this was back, I think that first flood was in the 1400s. And it was just so many people died. So many people died. And the statuary in that cemetery, it's very small, relatively speaking. I mean, because if you go to the Greyfriars in Edinburgh, it's quite large, but this one was not. And it was a very intimate feel. And I'm not afraid of cemeteries. I think that they're places where you'll find beautiful art and in the statuary and deep meaning in the epitaphs. So I think it's kind of nice to be able to enjoy that when you're given the opportunity. I don't usually go out and seek that, but in these instances, it was so much history and the artwork, the artistry of the carvings and stuff was just astounding. But it puts into perspective that people that lived so far back from us were just as caring and feeling and had trauma and love and um, pain and giddiness as us. So that's to me that's an amazing gift to be able to see and grasp that. But I don't know. And seeing those dates, I mean, from 1100 on, some of them earlier. But what I found after the fact was that there's a place called the Orkney Isles, and it is at the very top of Scotland. It's off the mainland. To get there is a challenge, as my friend Greg said. Greg is a haunted tour guide. And I was like, can you get us up that far? And he was like, it's very expensive and it's quite a challenge. So, no. And I was like, well, if I ever decide I want to go up to the Hebrides, I want you to be my guide. He was like, I'll do that. So now I just have to save lots and lots and lots of money because it's expensive to take all the boats, trains, and automobiles to get there. And but it's one of the oldest parts up there are some of the oldest civilizations known. So lost me. There I am. Okay. But but yeah, and I can't imagine having the opportunity to go and check that out. I just think I don't know what I would feel there. Here in America, we have,
No camera again, Cat.
well, I see me. Let's
I don't
see.
see you.
I don't see where to do it. Okay,
You're
I
not on
see.
here.
Bear with me. I
Okay.
didn't touch anything, so
I don't know what's going on with your camera.
it just says, it just says, am I there now?
No.
Because I see me. Um, you're right, Ingrid. It does make history human. I don't quite know what to do.
I don't either. I don't think you have. Uh, can you go down to your settings and see what camera is? You're on your phone, right, or tablet?
I'm on my phone.
On your phone. Go
Hmm.
down to your uh, camera settings and click it and see what's going on there. we'll wait and see if she can get the camera back up and running. We will find out. Okay, Cat left and she'll be right back. Maybe she'll click on it and have her camera back on. We'll find out here shortly. So everybody just stay tuned and we'll see what goes on here. Because she's got some great stories to tell you and places she's been at coming up here in the next 40 minutes. But she's been having a lot of technical issues tonight, and this always happens on a paranormal show. So everybody should expect it, but we're waiting to see if she comes back in. In the meantime, if you have any questions, put them in the chat room, and we'll see if I can answer them. So everybody just stay tuned and get this going. Okay, there I am. I'm her producer, so I'm just waiting around until Kat comes back. But if you have any questions, ask them in the chat room, and I'll make sure she gets them, or if I can answer them, because I'm also a paranormal investigator. Me and Kat have investigated before, so we will see what goes on. But she should be coming back in here shortly. So we'll just hang around and see. But let us know where you're watching from and share the show out. Ingrid, you need to get a hold of Kat and come on her show. Yeah, we can. What part of Ohio are you in, Ingrid? Oh, I'm just waiting for her to click back in. I don't know what her problem is on her phone. She should be pulling up her tablet if she can find it. She's been packing stuff up because, like she told you earlier in the show, they got roofers coming in that's going to be doing a lot of work on their house, from the roof, new insulation, and new sheetrock on the ceiling. So she's packing a lot of stuff up. That's why she couldn't find the laptop earlier and stuff. But yeah. Hey, Kat, where are you at? Let's see here. Well, let's see.
Wednesday night, 7 on the dot. Central Time, you know the spot. Cat Hobson on the line. Something strange is in the signs. Doors crack open, lights go low. Stories come from who knows where. Footsteps where nobody goes. Cold spots climbing UFOs and guess we want it all. Paranormal experience. Tell me what you know. What you know. What you know. Late night voices on the feed, turning fear to something clean. A witness says it like it is, and the silence starts to lean. One more clip, one more sign, one more name. In the dark, everybody holds their breath when the unknown leaves a mark. If you heard it too, if you saw that glow, bring your story through, let the whole room know. Paranormal experienced, Cat Hobson takes the call. Paranormal experience, UFOs and guests, we want it all. Paranormal experience. Tell me what you know, what you know. From the porch to the open sky, from the grainy tape to the eye, we keep the questions alive. We keep the questions alive. Paranormal experienced, Cat Hobson takes the call. Paranormal experience, UFOs and gas, we want it all. Paranormal experienced. Tell me what you know. What you know. What you know.
Well, I'm still waiting for Cat. Okay, Ingrid, I'll let her know. I'm just waiting for her to pop back in as we try to keep the show going. Come on, Cat. Where are you at? You're in the dark. Cat, where are you at? She hasn't sent me no messages yet, so I don't know where she's at. Yeah, you're right, Ingrid. Yeah. We've had a lot of that happen. Oh, I don't know what's up with her phone. I don't think she's having any storms down there. So, she ain't back here in about 5 or 10 minutes. I may have to end up shutting the show down. So we will keep talking through here. Like I said, if anybody has any questions out there, ask them. Yeah, Ingrid, I can understand. I produce a lot of paranormal shows over on the networks and stuff, and we're always having issues. If she hasn't logged back in, I don't know why. The show hasn't ended. Oh, Cat, where are you? Come on, cat. Folks, I have no idea where she's at. So, I don't know. We'll just keep this going for a little bit. If she don't pop in, we'll shut the show down. So, but you can always catch Cat on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Central here on Paranormal Experience. On YouTube, on different Facebook channels that you can check out. Bill Rights Network, which I own. Things Network, which we are part of Things. I'm Things of Missouri chapter. Cat is chapter of Things of Alabama. So we are all part of that. We support them. Yeah, I'm in Missouri. I live about 55 miles north of Kansas City. Okay, Cat, where are you at? Ooh, tell us about your cigar boxes. I build them and everything. This one here is for the movie. Excuse me. This is for the movie Back from the Dead with Santiago Cirillo. Ingrid, you're going to Missouri next week. Where are you going to? But yeah, these. But this one's going to be shipped to Santiago before too long. This one here I keep around. This is one of the very first three-string cigar box guitars I built, and is ooh, yeah, it's electric also. Oh, you're going to the Neo show? But yeah, I build a lot of them and sell them. But yeah, I custom build cigar box guitars. If you ever want one made, just contact me on the Billerites Network, and I can make them. All this here was lasered on the front of this. I do laser engravings. I do a lot of stuff. There's one that I made for Things Network. I have a lot of different stuff that I have laser engraved. I do glass, tiles, just about everything. But yeah, I made a when we went down to Eureka Springs for the Ozark Mountain UFO conference. I made a guitar to give to them to auction off, and the guitar had this alien on the front of it, laser. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, the other cigar boxes sell real good and everything. That's an actual cigar box. This one here that I made is a custom lasered box. So, but yeah, they're sturdy. They play pretty easy to learn on them. These are all fretless that I make. So, okay, Kat, where are you? I try to keep your show going for you, but yeah, but yeah, you. Oh, here she is. Maybe she's coming back. Uh, I see her down there, but I don't see her picture. There she is. Well, she was. There we go again. So she'll be clicking back on here in a second. Maybe. I don't know what happened. I had her, clicked her up, and she clicked something and it went off. So everybody just stay tuned here for a little bit. I know everybody gets bored hearing me talk, but I try to keep her show going with no dead time on it so we can replay it sometimes. But here she is again, and now she don't touch nothing. And she did it again. I have no idea what's going on here. That's the second time I brought her up on the screen and she disappeared. We're being haunted. I don't know. Kat and myself have had a lot of crazy things happen on these shows, especially the night that me and Kat did a show together and was talking, and a spirit started talking, I guess through my computer or in the air that my microphone picked it up. So, okay. Just a second, Kat. I'm going to click you up. Don't touch nothing. And I know she's getting frustrated. I think it's just funny. Oh, yeah. Life goes on, let me tell you. Life goes on at 2 hours a time on these shows on Wednesday night and Sunday nights with Kat. We have such a good time. But this is what happens. I would say she's got some activity going on there at the house down in Alabama that's not allowing her to come back on for some reason. But yeah, well, I'm waiting for her to pop back in. It looked like she was on her computer, but it also looked like she was in black and white, like in 1950s. So we will see. Yeah, Ingrid, you and me and Kat would probably all agree upon that down in her house. We've had a lot of that happen before. You don't know how many times before a show starts, me and Kat's talking. She can hear me fine, and the show starts, and her computer speaker will quit working. Her earbuds will quit working. and stuff, and we have to go through all that, going out and in and out, and that has happened several times. We will see what's going on with Kat. Let's see if she sent me any messages. Nope, no messages yet. We will see what goes on. But Ingrid, she said she will be messaging you. Yeah, we always do pretty good. Oh, Kat, come on. But no, if you're going to be in southern Missouri, down by Neosho. That's in the southwest corner of Missouri and stuff. I'm up here, like I said, I'm about 55 to 60 miles north of Kansas City, in a little bitty town of Gallatin, Missouri, which has the history with the James Gang and the Mormon Wars up in this area. So, well, I have a lot of stuff to investigate up here that I've investigated before. Me and Kat's talked about it on different shows. We will see. Oh, you lived in Princeton, Missouri? That's not too far. I was just up at Unionville here 2 weeks ago after the tornado hit up there with our food truck, helping the people out in Unionville. So, done a lot with that. Hey, Kat, she must be really having some issues. Because usually she's on with her phone, her tablet, or the computer with a backup. Here we go again. Cat, kick yourself up on there. If I kick you up, it kicks you off. And it did it to her. You all seen that flash up. She did it. She brought herself up. I don't know what's going on. And you notice when she did that, if you rewatch this, it was in black and white. Here we go again. I'm going to try, Cat, but for some reason, you look like you're in black and white down here in the bottom. And she did it. I don't know what's going on. So, well, that's good, Ingrid. Beautiful country up there. And I'll be going up there in September to go deer hunting with some friends of mine that live up in Princeton now. So, yeah, I'll be up in that area. Okay, Cat, let's try this again. I have no idea why bringing her up on the screen it kicks her out, or she brought herself up and it kicked her out. So I have no idea. It's been a crazy day for her. It's been a crazy day for me and my wife around here and everything. So we will see. Here she is again. I'm going to try to. You seen it. She flashed up on the screen. I have no idea what's going on. She's on her computer. We're waiting to see. Cat. She had messaged me, so I don't know. I keep checking on Facebook. But yeah, archery season starts here September the 15th. So I go up there for opening weekend and I come back down here, go out to my buddy's place. We got 800 acres out there that we did. No, I can't freeze it and everything. It's everybody will have to rewatch it whenever we end the show. But I have no idea what's going on with it. Here we go again. We're going to try. And she did it again. I have no idea what's going on. Something is not wanting her to be on her show. I don't know what's going on here. Kat, listen to me before you do anything. Down at the bottom, shut your camera off. Now I'm going to try to bring you in the show without your camera. And that didn't work either. Yeah. Well, when she comes back up, I'm going to show you something if I can. I'm going to try something real quick. If this works, when she pops in, I'll tell her. Okay. Now, if she pops in, I'm going to try to tell her what to do. Okay. She's down here at the bottom. Cat, go to your Facebook page and click on the link that I sent you and see if you can enter that way without being kicked out. You can turn your camera back on. It is. Oh, Ingrid, you see a lady with her from way back? How far back? Cat, can you hear me? If you can, go to private chat and send me a message. We will see what's going on here. She's got 10 minutes before we had to end the show to see if she can get back on here. We will see here. Do you think that older lady is causing the problems? Really? The 1700s? Well, if she ever gets on here, we'll make sure she knows that. And if you wonder what I deer hunt with, right there, the crossbow. Okay, cat. Come on, cat. Okay, there she is. We will see. I'm going to try to bring you up, cat.
Am I hanging on?
Yes. What the heck has been going on?
I don't know. I don't know. I was just sitting there and I was, fixing to say something and I was gone. I have gone through two browsers. I'm on my third browser. And I don't know. It was just
Well,
like, boom, you're out. Boom,
yeah.
you're gone.
Okay. Ingrid says there's an older lady with you
How
from
old?
the 1700s. That's what she's telling me over in the chat.
Does she know who shot me when I was there? I mean,
What'd you bring back from over Ireland and Scotland that stuck around?
well, I was talking about when I got shot at Culloden, and my lighting is weird, but still kind of weird, but okay. But so I thought that maybe it was from that, but I haven't. I've talked about that experience before, and nothing happened.
Right. That's why I
So
was telling everybody something's going on
yeah,
because down there you would click on, and as soon as your picture popped up on the screen, you were gone out of the
yeah,
studio.
I
I
was
would
getting
do the same thing to you, and you were gone out of the studio.
yeah.
And I
So
was like, what is going on here?
I don't know, but I'm dizzy from it. Woo!
I'll bet you are.
So, but I mean, I updated my Chrome, came back in, nothing. Then I used one that the Windows one, and not and kept getting kicked out. Everything was, you know, it was just so unexpected. And Ingrid, do you know where she's from?
But what I couldn't understand is why your phone shuts the camera off.
I know. I mean,
'Cause I
nothing was.
mean, I know your phone. You got an iPhone. It shouldn't
I
be
do,
doing any of that.
and I do interviews on my phone.
I know.
I mean, it's just weird. But look how strange my lighting is.
And
I mean,
I'll tell you what. You're not on 1080.
yeah,
If
I
you go
am.
down, uh,
I'm
if you
on
go
my
down,
I'm on what I'm on every time. She's from America.
yeah.
Is she related to me?
You gotta remember, you live in Alabama. There was people around there in the 1700s.
Well, yeah, but my family was
She doesn't believe in mediums?
who does she think she's talking to?
Yeah, Ingrid. Yeah,
But my grandma and them were from South Alabama. Her father was a newspaper publisher, and they go all the way back to England. And one of my ancestors was a baron, so I'm on that side, and then Scottish side, everybody was just us,
right.
you know, average Joe. And then I've got the Native American side from my grandmother Doss. So,
The devil. Okay. But yeah, I just
um, what does she look like? Is she tall and skinny with dark hair?
she says cat feels her.
Was she tall and skinny with dark hair?
You need to get a hold of Ingrid and get her on the show.
Yes. Ingrid, would you come on with me soon?
Because next week she's going to be in Missouri, down in southern Missouri.
Really?
And I found out she used to live up here about 30 miles from me in Princeton, Missouri. She's a Native American. Oh, that's even better.
I have Native American also, but I am very exasperated now. Is it a grandmother? Like a immediate grandmother?
Yes.
Obie or Elizabeth?
But yeah, we'll get Ingrid on here sometime. I've told her about shows you and me have done together, how paranormal gets into it and messes everything up.
Obie, Ingrid, is it Obie or Elizabeth? You know?
I don't know. All I know is you got about a minute left.
Well, I don't want to shut it down because I'm going to talk to Ingrid. I'm going to find her on Facebook.
Yes.
But I bet it's Obie. My grandmother Doss.
Right. Right. Not related, but knows your family. So, anyway, do you want to end this at 2 hours or do you want to keep going?
Um, what would happen with I mean, do we need to end it at 2 hours? I will message you, Ingrid, when we get off of here.
Yeah, when you get off here, message. You won't be able to replay it.
No. And it won't be able to go up on the things.
Right. So, we're at the 2 hour mark right now.
And I was just doing such a good job too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ingrid, I will get with you on Facebook. So I cannot find anything. I mean, we get strange, but that was strange even for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ingrid, are we already friends on Facebook? I think we are.
Could be.
But I will message you. So let's go ahead and call it. And that's all we can do.
That's all we can do to finish out tonight.
So, well, it's going to be on our pages on Facebook. So anybody that's watching this,
Yeah,
oops,
go back and watch her pop in and pop out because
that
it
was
looked like he
crazy.
was in black and white in the 50s.
And it's just crazy. I mean, because seriously, until now, I didn't change anything on my lighting.
Right,
So, and so when I started seeing the black and white, because Al didn't have his green color. He was dark too.
right,
So, but look how lit my face is, and I didn't change anything.
right.
Even if I come up, I have to get way back.
We'll figure it out after the show.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be able to stay because the hubster and stuff.
Okay.
But because I just got home shortly before the show. But
Okay.
I'll find you, Ingrid. I'll send you that request. So, Carl, thank you. For everyone that may be watching this wherever it's feeding, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on, but we'll find out. So, thank y'all. And Ingrid, thank you so much for being here and chatting with me. You were fun. And we will talk later.
Okay. Night.
Be blessed. Good night.